and we are ready to bring you X-Men 97, Season 1, Episode 6.
Lifedeath, Part 2.
Part D.
Yeah, so we open up with a space battle that is so epic.
It's
I can't
insane.
even get over it. Yeah, it's kind of really cool that we start off this way because we did not expect it to start this way, considering it's a Part 2 of an episode that has something to do with Storm and Forge. Yeah. So yeah, no, we get a really hot start with the Kree fighting the Shi'ar Empire. They're two empires that kind of like want to take over. Like they're very hungry empires that want to take over pieces of the universe. Anyway, so the Kree's kind of running the Accusers, the Kree running things. It seems like.
Yep, and we all know him from Guardians and stuff more recently. If you weren't like comic book fan or anything, you know. Yeah, and he's kind of quickly taken out by Deathbird and a team called the Imperial Guard, which consists of some cool characters: the Gladiator, Starbolt, Flashfire, Manta, Smasher, Titan, Warstar, and Vulcan, who is Cyclops' other brother. Other than Havoc, this is supposedly the other brother. Yeah.
Which I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with that. Yeah, Gabriel Summers, he's able to manipulate the energy around him and stuff, and maybe even Cyclops' eyes. We'll see.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. So hopefully we see this character more.
And
because he doesn't even get any lines.
Right. We also get a name drop of the Supreme Intelligence again, another cosmic entity that we were introduced to in Guardians and stuff.
Very cool.
So
they're because we knew that Charles was doing this, but also the show hadn't
touched
addressed
on
it yet.
Yeah, it hadn't
so
addressed it.
We just took it as Charles was dead on Earth right now. So so we finally get the reminder of what's going on. And it's not, Deathbird's not happy about it. Deathbird's annoyed because her sister is Empress Lilandra, who is about to get married to Charles Xavier. And she's just
Terran?
Yeah, exactly, a Terran, which means...
And not even a full one at that?
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
That was crazy listening to this.
Yeah, which, again, goes back to the Empire building. That's of course, that's going to be the type of behavior there. Anyway, so we see very alive Charles, walking around, and he's because he's got these exoskeleton. We find out
it's very much
so
Bruce Wayne's exosuit from Kingdom Come comics. It's a he walks in it. It's like an Iron Man suit, if you will.
Back, right.
I mean, we all know, especially in this series, Charles Xavier with his little gold hover chair and whatnot, sitting down with his little sweater vest and stuff.
And I like it because instead of going full tilt of healing him, they just gave him this exoskeleton, and he's still going to rely on a type of machinery to get him around, but it's at least giving Charles a different perspective.
Yeah, this armor allows him to walk and stuff.
Yeah.
But we do even get a little glimpse of him still in kind of a glider, basically, a little hover chair and stuff.
Oh yeah, that thing's not gonna. We're gonna get a scene hopefully.
Yeah.
Of him in the classic one, maybe updated. But anyway, so they talk about their marriage plans and possibly going back to Earth. Maybe Charles hints at. Pretty unslyly. Yeah. He's just hint. Can we go back to Earth too? Because I got some homies there that would love to see what's happening with me.
Right.
And
it's just you need to do better at masking your manipulation.
Exactly. Which he's,
that's fair.
That's fair. It's absolutely fair because he is normally just kind of low grade manipulating people with the telepathic powers he has probably. Anyway, so back on Earth we got Storm. Finally.
Well, yeah, and this is awesome. So, then we get the, before we leave them, basically what Leandra is saying is you're their teacher. At some point, you need to let them go. And he's you are correct, but that's only when a teacher feels that they have nothing else to teach or leave on to them. And that's basically Charles's kind of crisis right here. That he's kind of feeling and why he's doing this is that...
Which is Cyclops has been dealing with the leadership. He's been dealing with letting go of leadership. So, there is some kind of black hole, if you will, of leadership going on with the X-Men. And he just knows he hasn't taught him everything they need to be taught. So he hasn't given he feels like he hasn't given clear enough instructions probably either.
Yeah. As we even
yeah.
I mean, we've seen those repercussions.
Yeah.
With Magneto taking over.
Exactly, which was not it wasn't done in the most ceremonious way. So yeah, we get that, and then
we're back with Storm and Forge's little like cabin out there in like what seems like a Montana kind of outback, like Montana, Wyoming kind of place or whatever.
Old West type place. Yeah, so it's very cool. But we do now know that is like poisonous and it's like kind of coursing through him and it's infecting him.
Forge is in bed. You see his whole arm. It looks like Venom's getting ready to come out and like say hi.
And they call that demon owl thing the adversary.
Yeah.
Which is interesting and kind of important for later.
Mm-hmm.
So it's scratched and infected them, and they're trying to.
At the end of episode 4, when we get Life Death Part 1, one of the very last lines that owl says, it refers to itself as I, the adversary, or whatever. So that's where you get the first hint. And if you missed it, because obviously we had that, for lack of a better term, that bomb of an episode of. Remember it in episode 5 last week, like, whew.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. So,
this demon character, it's very interesting what it is. And he, the whole time is just kind of like, you should leave this dude. You know what I mean? Like, kind of hitting it. Like, it's not just like...
He lied to you.
It's very much a demon. Like, it's trying to bring out the, like... worse than Storm and trying to get her to
feed on those like fears and anxieties.
And it literally seems like it is feeding on that stuff. It almost seems to get more powerful. Anyway, so it tries to give him a sword to leave him. She's not having it really, and she gets trapped in this coffin, which is kind of a creepy scene. He created the weapon that did this to you.
Basically, because. To be fair, again, Forge admits that in Life Death Part 1, like his early rudimentary designs and tech became the collar and became the weapon and the radiation funneling basically that the Executioner did that took away Storm's powers here. So, and the demons just nagging and feeding on that, and it's like, there is no pill for my poison.
Yeah, which is cool because if you notice, the voice is the same actress. It's Storm. She's just doing a little different,
voice modification. Her voice. She's a voice actress. Obviously,
she's great.
She can do some things.
So it's really interesting. It's the same voice, and all of a sudden, this one Forge comes with using this very Doctor Strange looking magic, holding a book, and kind of with his other hand using these. It's kind of the Doctor Strange circles around him with the hieroglyphs or whatever.
Yeah,
and he traps this entity long enough to give him enough time to go get this cactus thing that'll help heal him.
Yeah, they send the owl basically. He's like, I banish you back to the desert from which you came and stuff. And as you know, it was very big and apocalyptic and stuff there. And Forge collapses, and that's where he's like, there's this midnight chala. Yeah. It's a type of cactus that can grow anywhere, and we have to go to a mountain to go get it. Basically.
Yeah, easy. So they need to trek across the like we said, kind of the desert. So that's where we're at with them, and then back on Shi'ar in front of this large.
I love this paddle back and forth. This going between now that we're clearly going to be getting between the Charles Xavier story here and then the Forge and Storm.
Because again, it kind of adds another relationship problem to the show.
Well, it's another. It's another life death thing too in that sense. Storm is without her powers. Forge is literally dying from poison. We also, on the flip side, have thought / forgot about Charles Xavier and have been under the assumption that he's dead, but he's actually alive and walking. And it is just greatness.
Yeah, it's definitely great. We're back in front of this large crowd on Shi'ar where Deathbird kind of calls out Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to marry my sister, dude, you gotta forget about the X-Men on Earth.
Right,
because
you
literally have to forget them.
You're from an inferior world.
Yeah. She then goes to their fascistic
and their
sense of
supremacy,
being, and
like
they're like imperial. He'll talk
Yeah.
about it later, but yeah. So he's got to be willing to forget them, and through some process that they have. Gladiator and
Madasha.
Yeah, right.
Madasha, is it, dude? Thunderbird or Deathbird.
Yeah.
Calling us the Milky Ghetto, the
I
Milky
love
Way
that.
Ghetto was
I kinda
very
love
funny. And so yeah, she basically is like, you've got to renown, you've got to do Madasha. My sister's got to do it to you so that we know you guys are like legit and this isn't some like, I don't know, kangaroo kind of court basically or whatever.
She's trying to get power. Like
Yeah.
this is clearly like a power move, and she's just using this moment as leverage. And yeah, it's not going great between the sister-in-law and Xavier.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get a moment between Gladiator and Xavier that I love.
It's so good.
Gladiator's kind of like you can clearly tell they're friends. Like they're definitely chill with each other. He's trying to like
They
have the antagonistic relationship that him and Magnus, who he calls, you remind me of Magnus, because
hey everybody.
Xavier's idealism, especially to Gladiator, who's from this like this culture of just like conquering and stuff like that, doesn't understand being idealistic. He just sees the world as winners and losers.
Idealism he calls is insanity.
Yeah, which is so funny. Which
insane.
That's when he says, "You remind me of my friend Magnus." Which is very true. But Magneto's trying. Maybe Gladiator will see some way to have some kind of empathy. Anyway, so no matter how much he doesn't want to do this, he definitely knows he has to, right?
Yeah.
Xavier's like, I either do this or like there's gonna be this power struggle. There's gonna like I'm gonna lose Lilandra. Like the peace between her and her sister is gonna be gone. Blah blah blah.
Right.
So yeah.
And like he still says, to Lilandra, like he's like, he's kind of like willing to go through with it, but he's like, you've got to like realize this too here, sweetheart, that like, Deathbird's challenge does go too far. Like, for it, like it goes too far, and but I'll do it. And like Lilandra is also like, if I give up my throne, which is what my sister wants, like, can you imagine what she would do to the universe?
Yeah.
And like, there's also this common thing that we also haven't talked about, is that part of why Xavier is there is that they defeated their brother Deacon already.
Yep.
And so,
like again, they're a conquering empire, so that they were going to conquer Earth, and in order to stop that, this is kind of like his diplomatic way, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of falling apart in this moment, because if he's unwilling to like even forget about his past and stuff, which most people would be, right? Like that's just even if you want to move on, you still want to remember the past. And she's kind of not sticking up for him, and he's like, that's uncalled for, but I got to do what I got to do.
Right.
He's clearly not happy to be there.
Yeah, like because he's also like, you've shown me devotion beyond like measure, so it's like time I show you the same thing. Yeah. And that's like kind of where he lands on it, and then we end up at the Snow Snake Tower, basically the mountain here.
We get Forge.
Hold on. This tower mountain thing, I just want to say this: if anyone is a movie fan, specifically a Spielberg fan,
right?
Close Encounters, baby. That's what this mountain is. It's the exact same one from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So yeah, just want to say that if you're a fan, if you've seen it, I see you.
Yeah,
I see you because you saw that tower. But it's great. But it's also like, for me, it was a beautiful nod, because like that whole thing is like Close Encounters of the Third Kind can, wherever you land on it, I love it. It's a really solid movie. But for Spielberg, it's actually probably like one of his mid-tier movies, if we're being honest. But like, you're Spielberg, so like, you got an entire
right.
like, I mean, I don't know if many people have better catalogs.
Mid to him.
But anyhow, seeing that in there, like part of it is like reaching out and like chasing after something a little bit there. So having this like mountain kind of be designed like that, also of the idea of like chasing after like a cure for Storm now to try and get her, but more importantly, the thing right now is to save like Forge and everything.
The cure
like,
right now for him.
And so like going to this place to be able to have this like major experience and stuff is all very in line with that. So I just really like,
because like I said in the last episode, it's a little less scientific, right? We're going to need less science on this one, more spirituality, if you will.
Exactly.
And that's when they go into this cave. They're kind of going through the tunnel, and they Forge mentions that this used to be a Civil War depot, weapons depot, which is like also another like kind of just layering of like tragedy in this place, you know, like and adding to this also like, you know, native place that probably dates before way before the Civil War,
right? So
they have to go through this tight little space. Forge can't make it, clearly.
Yeah, well, because like Oro is even like, why would you let these people like come into your home then and stuff and like continue to do this? And he's just like, you know, why is the adversary here? I was full of hate and like fear and anger and like self-loathing and stuff, and like, you know,
a low that many of us have had, right? Like a low that like a lot of us take moments of being a bad person. You don't think you're a bad person because of those moments, but you know, sometimes they lead to bigger things that you don't understand,
right?
Or beyond your power. So yeah, it's a good moment for them to kind of like almost bury the hatchet.
Yeah, and he like you know, kind of asks for like forgiveness and stuff then, and whatnot. And I do love on how he talks about like his fear and self-loathing. He's like a big old owl that feeds on fear and self-loathing. Like, are you sure I'm not the one who called the adversary here? Like,
or maybe I'm not the only one here.
Yeah,
like, maybe like we're both dealing with this issue. Don't be super judgmental. And considering, and her forgiveness is kind of the first step.
Yeah, and to be fair, this is where like you know, so Forge puts out this like story and whatnot, and it kind of asking for forgiveness and stuff, and then even Aurora, you know, Storm, she tells her story of Jean, of where she's like, oh yeah, I've wished to be like human before, like right before Nathan was born, and before we found out that was actually Madeline Pryor and all of that,
and that was her self-loathing speaking, which is again what this owl is feeding on. Yeah, so. She's gonna go into this tight space, and she's gonna climb and get this cactus thing. Yeah. To cure Forge. Anyway, so we're in Shi'ar, and Xavier is about to start with the process.
Yep.
But sensing an unwillingness, Deathbird kind of like is like, no, this is a sham.
Hesitation.
Yeah, this is a sham. She's kind of doing the like, do you have anything to say before? You know, the marriage thing. Yeah. She's like, nope, I don't like it. And she's about to attack. Gladiator like kind of steps in, helps them out.
And basically, so to be fair, like we saw earlier, Gladiator attacking with Deathbird on Ronan and everything. So like you're meant to initially assume here that he is loyal to her in all of these steps. Yeah. But
when really that's his team.
Like, but really we are wrong in that because he is loyal to Shi'ar, the court, and like his people there. So he actually backs the Empress and protects her and like, you know, does that whole thing. And it's great.
So this is when Xavier uses his powers and it's like, you know what, I've been waiting for this kind of moment. I need to get something off my chest.
I love this thing. He's like, oh, I forgot my greatest the thing that I can use best. Oh yeah, bam, you're coming with me. And I love it that we get the like little like white outline of him just like going into people's mind, being like, you're coming with me, you're coming with me, you're coming with me now.
Yes, because he's not one for violence, so he's gonna try the other method. So he brings him into the astral plane and basically sits him into a classroom, which is so funny.
Got you know, a green chalkboard and stuff
if you have
on there.
Questions, raise your hand.
He's eating an apple and stuff. Oh man.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so funny. But yeah, he's there, and we go back to Storm now,
and she's
climbing into this crevice, and
that crawl space,
and that adversary is mocking her. Yeah, trying to get to her again, get her to quit. You know, be a human forever. And then the crevice starts getting, smaller and smaller, and eventually Storm just like had enough of this, and gets her power enough to push the walls back from closing in, and finally she gets all of her powers back.
Well,
and she flies out into space.
And the thing that I love about this is like, the adversary is like, deny your power.
Right. Which is exactly when she realizes
humanity will thunder down upon your life. And then it's right here where we get the electric and like the rocks are starting to shake now the other way. And
the scene's so good, man. The action in the scene, because again, she gets out of there. Like again, that was the moment. Oh, I'm doing this. I have the
them
control.
thunder, for I am lightning. Dude, what?
And then
Come
she
on.
flies to space, comes back down, like the tornado's going around her, and she flips into the black suit.
Dude.
So cool.
The black suit with the awesome cape
Yellow,
wings
yeah,
and like and the
yellow outlines,
yellow
yellow
like
and white.
trim and stuff, and like and
with
we
her
give
mohawk.
but no, she has the full head of hair. I thought.
No, she's got her mohawk.
She still has the mohawk here. I thought she had that full, that full head of Storm hair there. And but either way, this whole bit of her walking through and whatnot is awesome.
Yep,
dude.
there you go.
And you just pulled up a picture of it. Like they put the little crown basically on her and stuff.
Because again, Aurora is a
she's great. I mean, Storm's one of my favorite
for sure
ever. She's so awesome. And I love it.
Yeah,
I love Storm.
she's got her powers back, baby. And
Storm's back. She's bringing the thunder and the lightning. Thor step out of the way.
And back at the cabin now, they're kind of the calm a little more, and they're fixing Forge up. They're giving him his cure, and it seems to be working. They're having a little conversation when he turns on the TV, and
he even says let's whisk away to a tropical island.
Let's turn on something.
I love her response though. It's that's not an entirely unpleasant idea, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a good. I love you so much, Storm.
We could, So he hits the TV in hopes of finding something silly or they're more fun to watch. And nope, TV is showing what just happened in Genosha.
Yep, the news reports from Genosha with Trish Timbley and all of that.
Yeah.
And Storm's face says it all. Forge is also equally shocked, but there's a true horror because Storm
Storm's a little closer to it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild.
Awesome.
We have such that high of seeing her get her powers back to then just be drawn back down, being oh yeah, guess what?
Yeah.
They haven't dealt with this yet either. So here you go.
Yeah, it's almost like a give and take. One Omega level mutant got taken out, another one got her powers back. So back in Xavier's astral plane classroom,
Charles's cosmic classroom.
Right, so he's going over the imperialism of the Shi'ar Empire basically, and talking about why this is gonna lead to fascist tendencies, and he's comparing it to things on Earth and stuff. When all of a sudden he's bombarded by this psychic vision, where the table of people, or people sitting at the tables are all turned into skeletons, and this giant version of Gambit that looks kind of almost like a Sentinel, has the Sentinel vibe to him. He's all huge, and he turns into a skeleton, and then he hits Xavier with a blast, which wakes him up out of the astral plane and everybody else, and kind of freaks out, and it's just I gotta go home.
Yeah. The Empress is running to him and is he's I need to go back to Earth, and she's but we've nearly convinced them, and he's it doesn't matter.
Right.
He's I have cowered here
in
the cosmos now, and the unthinkable has happened, because now it's kind of weird here.
He's definitely got guilt.
So one thing we also get before about the Empress Leandra is that she also is a telepath, just like Charles, and is equally as powered, and that's part of the reason why Deathbird wanted her to do the the Madasha on Charles because she is equally as powered or talented or whatever, however you want to look at it that way, to be able to do that for Charles. So, like, it's also very interesting here, too, that, like, he, for the first time, while accessing, like, the astral plane, he says he forgot about this. He finally accesses the astral plane, and then he gets it's almost like she was cutting off his true connection already.
Well, I don't think she was doing it on purpose, but he was doing it because he was living so far away from everything, wasn't needing to do it anymore. So you tend to forget about abilities that you have if you don't use them a lot, right?
Right.
If you're, a drummer in high school and then all of a sudden you've stopped for 20 years and try to pick it up, it's going to be a little rusty, or like you forget that you could even do it. But yeah, I think it's more one of those things. Like, that's why he's like feels guilty. Like, I've been cowered away here, like, because I've been hiding here. Like, it seems more like now. It seems because things back at home are not what I hoped.
Well, because he even says, he's like, if this ends our star-crossed like affair, like that. Let it be, because like I need to return. It's time for me to return to my X-Men.
Yeah.
And then we get a final cut to what I will call the trap, and we see Trask just running.
Yeah, this is cool. Yeah.
And he's just like, I did what you asked. I gave you my blood or my DNA to access the Master Mold. Please, just kill me for what happened in Genosha. And then we get how would you describe it? Sinister laugh?
Yeah. Yeah, so Sinister's clearly at least somewhat behind what happened here. Like,
well, he clearly, right there, but like, if he's not, he sent that Master Mold there to do the attack. Like,
but like, who is he working for? Somebody? Is there a bigger plan here? I hope.
Interesting though that we saw green coming out of the Sentinels this time, because he also had the green liquid that Nathan was in.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he had something to do with Cable, and like,
well, because
the timeline's completely different now. Bishop didn't foresee any of this coming, so yeah, this is all completely new ground for them. So yeah, it's going to be fun going forward and seeing how they deal with the cleanup of Genosha now that Storm has her powers back at least. But a lot of people were killed.
Well,
a lot of mutants.
Like, Sinister is like truly creepy here too. He's like, don't fret the future. Genosha was just the prologue. Now pass.
Like, that was the start.
And he's like, nothing to fear as long as you place your faith in Sinister.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bam. Episode done. And whoo.
Man.
So like, that was important to figure out who sent the Master Mold there and how all of that happened. It was interesting to see Trask, because last we saw Trask, he was in UN custody when the X-Men busted him out in the desert.
Yep.
So,
and there was a hint of guilt here that I've never seen in Trask. Like, that was too much. Almost. Like, wow, even for you.
Yeah.
Which seems crazy.
Right. Which is like, it makes you ask questions of like, is that really Trask? Because we haven't seen Mystique yet.
Or like, how long has he been working for Sinister?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting.
So now we have 7, 8, and 9. We're in our last 4 episodes here of X-Men. This whole bring back of the show has been amazing. I love it so much. It's so good. But yeah, with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. I am Jimmy with the Triple C Collective.
I'm Colin.
And we want to thank you all for joining us. Please like and subscribe to our video and to our channel. And as always, ding.